Let's look at the international markets before we go to the break. Apple and the iPhone, Keisha.
Yes.
By the way, guys, viewers, you're going to get a chance to ask David and Keisha some questions after the break as well. This is an all-analyst panel tonight. So China is now finally hitting back at some stuff that's been going on for the past. They've been taking hits and hits and hits, and now they're hitting back at the United States, it appears. And they are now, how you go? Banning iPhone?
Within Chinese government employees.
From government workers, yes.
That entire region. So within...
What's the update and what's going on with the stock price? Because I did notice there's been a move in that price since the announcement.
Yeah, so last week, unofficially, the Chinese government has instructed government employees not to be taking their iPhone into office with them, right? So they've banned the use of Apple's iPhones. That news sent the stock down 3%. And the thing is, within China, that's about 18% of revenue for Apple. So the thinking is that, if the Chinese government employees are banned from using Apple iPhones, they likely then will switch to other devices, Huawei being the main one, a Chinese manufacturer of phones. They would switch there, and then ultimately it could mean that would their families switch? Would there be just a general decline in Apple sales within China because of this move? No, the thing is, China is a very big market for many companies, and for Apple, nonetheless, it's 18% of total revenue last year, and a significant growth area within Apple's overall revenue book, because that's one of their fastest growing region in terms of sales. So having that news come out really has pushed the price down. I believe pre the news, Apple was around another all-time high. It was close to about $190 per share. The news sent the stock down to the low 170s. And then since then, it's kind of just been hovering around 175, 176 per share. So a big drop in share price because of that move. The thing though, with Apple, a lot of persons still see it, like myself, a very resilient company. And so the dip, people are buying it. They buy the dip, they see it as, we still will buy. Apple is resilient. Maybe they can pick up the sales elsewhere. But so far, we haven't seen any major news from Apple in terms of what they will do if this ban continues or worsens within China. So more to watch on that to see how that will play out. But bigger news, the new iPhone was released today, the iPhone 15. That came out in a video broadcast from Tim Cook. And so new phone buzz. Usually Apple releases these phones each year. And so in September, so it was highly anticipated. The big feature, I guess, in the latest, the iPhone 15 is going to be the use of spatial video. And
what is that?
So you're able to capture the video in more of a 3D mode. And so because of that, the goggles, I can't remember the name of it, you're able to
VR
as if you are, they're VR goggles. I can't remember their
VR headset.
Right. Yes. VR Pro or something like that. The use of the spatial video will allow you then to, when you're watching it back on your headset, it appears as if you are really there in person, bringing that whole metaverse type feeling to what you're doing. So that's a major development on the new iPhones. But the share price today fell by another 2%. So I guess people not really very excited about that, but
they also finally abandoned the lightning cable, and they're going USB-C. Industry standard has won.
Yeah, so last year I decided that I was gonna go into the Apple ecosystem. You have to change out all your chargers, change all that. The charger being the biggest problem. So didn't
David start the show with AirPods in, and now he had. Did I see AirPods at the beginning of the show? Because somebody was picking you up for having AirPods. So what, David was with AirPods, and now you're back to wired. No?
Yeah, no. David, Lego him wired. They're the most reliable. Yeah.
Yeah. But the thing is, remember, Kalila, the EU would have been a major factor in Apple actually shifting towards USB-C, because the EU is basically the de facto regulator of the world. So whatever the EU does, the rest of the world kind of catches on because you cannot really drop Europe as a market. That's a significant amount of wealth that you cannot ignore. Because the EU said, hey, we want to have just one standardized type of input port so that, instead of having multiple chargers being purchased and so forth, you have less waste being produced, which actually makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So looking
Apple
forward
was the
to
only
that.
one always have to do their own thing. They always have to, like Keisha said, you always have
It
to
was a big
switch out your
change.
whole
Yeah.
system because nothing compatible with Apple and
No, but the good thing is that what shows you Apple was doing what actually made sense. For one, it was a closed ecosystem, so it was a lot more harder to actually compromise. And at the same time, the Apple ecosystem is a very powerful network. When you think about it for a second, Kalila, Apple is one of the best-selling phone. Well, the iPhone is one of the best-selling phones in history. Apple releases a new iPhone like every year, and
Every
it's
September.
overbought. Like people just get a new iPhone like it's nothing. And even when the prices are going up, people are still getting them. And today was kind of significant in the sense that you have an iPhone today saying not made in China, but made in India. So while that China risk is there, Apple is trying to push itself further into the Southeast Asian markets where the wealth might not be as high, but the population is there. So the growth market has that space.
Yeah, but it's still a way to catch up to what they're doing in China. But it's very young or early back up to it for sure.